Let's just make sure that we're live. Think we're almost live. Let's see. I think we're in. It's so annoying. I've got to check this. Always check the link to see if it's working. Come on, give me some right. That's what I want to see. Great. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another Bayloric TV boxing show. Let's get straight into it because we know we've got PBC straight after this, so can't waste a lot of time. Let's get straight stuck in. Thank you all for joining me. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave your comments as usual. Check out the new interviews with BB Garcia, the boxing chef from the WBA featherweight champion of the world, Jesus or Jesus Cellular. I can never pronounce the name right, but yeah. But he's the WBA featherweight champion of the world anyway. And she's talked about making weight as a boxer, how important it is, the right diet, and so much more things. A very interesting lady. So check that interview out. Dave Allen, by public demand, has returned. So we've got an interview with him, plus exclusive to Bayloric TV. We now have the 4C Report, which is a weekly boxing show with different guests. And I have a few more surprises up my sleeve, but we're not going to talk about them tonight because I'm just going to unveil them. Anyway, so let's see who's in the room. Stuart Howe, Mr. NLP, the master practitioner, the coach who neuro-linguistic programming, is in the room. Morning all. So it is morning indeed. So morning Stuart, Marky B, yeah. Campbell should stay well away from Linares. Let's see who else is in the room. Make sure I haven't missed anybody else out. Guys here. Chris Golding says, hello Chris, how are you? Nick Paulin is getting right on my nerves, right on my goat there. Marky B says, yeah, Rose shocked a few, including myself. Stuart House says, morning all. Marky B says, Campbell should stay well away from Linares. Chris Golding says, morning. Chris Golding says, I like the old-fashioned route, British, Commonwealth, European, Joshua doing it all the right way. Marky B says, refresh guys. Chris Golding, did anyone else think hello handsome when Abel Sanchez turned up on the telly? Marky Bray says refresh. Stuart says thanks Marky, I was just looking at a blank screen. Yeah, I often look at a blank screen as well. Okay, so we're in. Let's see who is anybody on Twitter saying anything? Yeah, people just retweeting. Good. Okay, let's get into things, gentlemen. Where are we? Beginning of the night, as always, the top of the bill is Tommy Coyle versus Luke Campbell. I think a lot of people expected Luke Campbell to blow Tommy Coyle away. We won't talk about him. Let's talk at the bottom of the bill first. And who is first on the card that I saw? I think I tuned in when... I saw Dillian White. Dillian White was the first fight I actually saw live. Got in the ring against Costa with Jonathan Banks. Look, he has worked with Jonathan Banks beforehand. He was working with Jonathan Banks, I believe, when the Klitschko camp was together and Dillian White was over there. Look, Dillian White is a talented fighter. Let's get something absolutely straight here. He's a talented fighter. But, you know, I know he's worked with Jonathan Banks. It's one thing working with Jonathan Banks in your corner in training camp, and it's another working with Jonathan Banks in your corner in a competitive fight. And you won't know how good Dillian White is or how much he's improved until he gets hit on the chin in a meaningful fight. So Banks at the moment is very, very much cosmetic, because yes, I know Jonathan Banks is breaking Dillian White down and putting him back up, but between now, what we're now, August, September, October, November, December, so 4 months. In between that time, he's had one blowover tonight with Costa. We know Dillian White can punch. He just blew Dillian White over. Dillian White knocked over Costa. So then after that, everyone's going, yeah, he's ready for Joshua. Is he? Then somebody said to me, oh, well, Joshua hasn't been as active either, but Joshua's been pretty active. Yes, Joshua had that back injury, and the fight with him and Johnson was put back a little bit. But let's be honest. Let's be real brutally honest. If you look at Dillian White, he had 2 years out of the ring. Then he's come back and damaged his hand. I think he broke his hand. And on top of that as well, his trainer went amiss. His trainer went and got injured in a car crash or an accident. So at the end of the day, I think to myself personally that this fight against Joshua still comes way too soon. But a lot of people want to see the fight, and then when the fight's done and they've quelled their appetite, they'll start complaining, "Oh, Dillian White was crap or Joshua was crap." Look, neither Dillian White nor Anthony Joshua has fought anybody of real note. That's being blatantly honest. I mean, you know, Joshua's blown people away. Dillian White has blown people away. That's fine. But they fought nobody know. And if one beats the other, then, you know, I mean, none of them have gone 10 rounds. So they're pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, prospects. None of them have fought anybody who's hit them back hard on the chin yet. So, you know, you've got two guys there who really haven't fought any real competitive fights. And everyone's hyping this up like it's a super fight, or it's like, you know, it's the best thing that could be happening in boxing. It's not, you know, and for me, Dillian White needs to sharpen up in a few areas for myself. And I think Jonathan Banks is taking him back to school. I think this fight should happen a year down the line. It would be good because Dillian can get some fights and get competitiveness and momentum. See, so, you know, I've always felt with Dillian, there's always this sort of, I won't say it's unprofessional. I just feel that Joshua seems to have, I don't use the word professional unit. Just seems, and I don't want to say everything's on a plate for Joshua. Just polished is the word. More polished is the word. More polished, and I just find that Joshua seems more polished. And yes, Dillian might take a great shot, and Dillian may believe he could do Joshua again. That's true. But if Dillian White's mentality is based on what he did in the amateurs, that's not a basis of you believing you can beat somebody as a pro. You did something in the amateurs, but since the amateurs, Dillian White, whether you like it or not, has gone on and become a professional. And before he became a professional, he became an Olympic gold medalist. What did Dillian White do? So you can talk about that fight, but Joshua went on and became Olympic champion. Dillian White didn't. So his beating of Joshua, you could say Joshua got better and became Olympic champion. I know people debate about, well, he should have won the title and he had this controversial decision. Bottom line is, he's Olympic champion. Now in the pros, even in the pros, if you look at it, he still has fought, for me, the slightly better opposition. If you think about it, Matt Skelton, Michael Sprott, Jason Gavin. So those are sort of three names there already that you know internationally know those names. You know, Matt Skelton was in Prize Fighter. Michael Sprott has won a Prize Fighter a few times. You know, and if you look at that and then you look at who Dillian White sort of fought in the British scene, you're kind of scratching your head and wondering. So, and blowing a guy out in 30 seconds or a round, and then having another fight in September, well, that can't be too much of a testing fight again. What really needed, Dillian White really needs a testing fight like now. This fight tonight should have been a testing fight for me. And then after this fight, you know, then had a kind of easier fight to prepare for Joshua. But if you have a 30-second fight now, that's time for me wasted. And then now you've got to prepare for another fight now against somebody who, you know, can't be too dangerous because you don't want to jeopardize the Joshua fight. So for me, I don't think this fight should happen just yet. This time next year, yeah, let's build it. Let's make it happen. So no doubt Joshua's going to fight Gary Cornish. And from reports I'm getting, Cornish does not have no form of chin whatsoever. And I think the first time that Joshua lands on Cornish, fight's going to be over. So it's not looking good at the moment, you know. Let me refresh my page just in case it might have stuck. Okay, so, you know, those are my thoughts about those things so far. Let me get my camera up a second. There we go. So, go back to this here. Right. So, when I think about Anthony Joshua and I think about Dillian White, it's not a fight I'm interested in. If you look at the two guys in terms of jabs, I think Joshua carries a better jab. It's momentum with me at the moment, just momentum. So I'm not so fussed on this fight. And the other question that not many boxing fans have been able to answer to me so far is Anthony Joshua is the cash cow. He's what Eddie Hearn now has got as his main money maker. He's the guy that, you know, Eddie Hearn drools over, apart from Kell Brook. And there must be something that Eddie Hearn and his team have seen in Dillian White that makes them believe that Anthony Joshua is ready. That's my concern. That really is my concern. Anthony Joshua fighting Dillian White. Why is Hearn so happy and relaxed to have this fight happen? Has he got a contract with both guys? That's going to be a huge setback should Joshua lose the fight against Dillian White. Is this something they know that we don't know? So Stuart Howe says, even though this Cornish don't have a chin, fair play to AJ for its Commonwealth title. Can't blame him for moving forward. Is he moving forward, Stuart, or is that an illusion? If you're fighting a guy that's not going to fight back at you, is that moving forward? I wouldn't call that moving forward. I would call that moving strategically. Ruben Caddick is in the room. The champ is here. Yes, Ruben. How are you doing? No Tyson Fury talk tonight. Sorry. So you might as well switch off now because there's no Fury talk. I just talked about Fury just there. That's it. No more. Right. Would like Gavin for White. He has taken Joshua the longest and would give Dillian a few rounds. Durable pro. Yes, I agree. Chris Golding. I do think that Jason Gavin would be a good test. Jason Gavin will be a better test if he has more time than a week to prepare. I'd like to see Jason Gavin get at least 4 to 6 weeks to prepare for a fight against Dillian White. And then, you know, let's see what Dillian White does. Stuart House says, title-wise, it's moving forward. Let me ask you a question, Stuart. Are we building title holders or champions? If you're building a title holder, that's fine. If you're building a world champion, then that's not really the way you want to be moving forward. Because, you know, you only fight incredible opponents to building your resume as well. So I'm not sure. I want to talk White and AJ. Well, I'm about to move from White and AJ in a moment. Next up on topics, unless anybody else has got anything to talk about, I want to talk about where are we? Dillian White, AJ. Who's next on the card? The return of Ricky Burns. I am so happy for Ricky Burns to see him boxing again, to see him, you know, I was one of those guys who thought Omar Figueroa was going to put it on him and crucify him. Ricky Burns proved himself to be tough and strong and came through a real difficult time. You know, I thought that situation with Warren would have buried him, but it seems that he's come back and he's done well for himself. He looks in a good place, Ricky Burns. However, his opponent, let's not even talk about his opponent and his trainer. Oh my God, his trainer. I'm surprised that guy didn't punch his trainer when the look he had on his trainer, like when the guy was in such good condition in terms of like mentally and physically there. He was taking all these punches, but was able to catch the towel. You're able to catch the towel, but yet, you know, he's in a bad condition. This is the second, pardon my French, bullshit stoppage I've seen on Hype Room Sports or mismatch sports. It's the second stoppage. I think it was the last time was Martin Murray and that poor stoppage, and this one as well. What's it all about? Is it because they're so desperate to give Ricky Burns a stoppage victory that you have to tell the trainer to stop the fight? I mean, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, let the fight continue. Let it have its, you know, Ricky Burns is not a noted big puncher. So why stop the fight like that? I don't get it. Don't understand it. Yes, we know Burns is on his way to winning the fight. Let me take it this way: if a British fighter goes abroad and that happens to a British fighter, they get stopped that way. I hope that nobody says, "Oh, well, he was on his the other guy was on his way to winning anyway." You see, almost this sort of double standards sometimes in boxing, especially British boxing. I can't stand. Stuart Howe says, great point, Ingram, mate, but without a mental skills coach, he needs to get titles and to get even more confidence. So I get why they do it, but opponent-wise, it's definitely time for him to step up. Chris Mason says, Big D should fight Pricey. Okay. 4C Sports Media. Adam Noble 4C, the man behind the 4C report, is in the room. It says, big Ricky fan, guy has a lot going on outside the ring. Think a lot of British lightweights will not want the fight. Oh, indeed. I would stick Burns in the ring with Crawler tomorrow. Absolutely. Wouldn't think twice about it. And I would rather see Burns fight for the world title again faster than Crawler. I'm not sure. I would like to see Crawler, he did well that first fight. Whether he can do the same thing again in a second fight remains to be seen. But that Dali, whatever his name was, I don't know where they got that world champion from. But he's absolutely awful. But Ricky Burns has come through a real tough time. And I just hope he gets all the title fights he can get. And the other thing I'm slightly concerned about is I know he was, he had that huge settlement with Frank Warren. Kind of wonder if he's now fighting as a is he fighting to pay off his debts, has mismatch room given Ricky Burns some sort of form of a loan so he can pay off his debts. I don't know. So is Ricky sort of fighting to pay off a loan, or is the money just coming in okay for him? So it's a concern, but I wish him the really best. And yeah, I don't think a lot of British lightweights want anything to do with Ricky Burns whatsoever. He'll be a tough nut to crack. What he's got left at world level, nobody knows, to be honest. But why not? See no reason why. He's fit, he's young, he's hungry, he wants it. Next on the bill, who was next? Brian Rose versus Carson Jones. Good old Abel Sanchez. I have to have a word with Abel. I'm a bit concerned with him now. First, he's had Mohammadi, and he said he looked down the camera, and I was watching him against Kovalev. He looked down the camera, and bless his soul, I do love Abel Sanchez, but I'm not sure. He looks down the camera, and he says, Mohammadi is going to be the next light heavyweight champion of the world. I have no doubt about that. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, hold on a second. Let me just get something straight here, yeah? You've just said Mohammadi is going to beat Kovalev. Now, less than a week or a week after that, your ass is in the UK with Carson Jones. And Carson Jones was awful. Absolutely shocking. I mean, what I don't get, if you look at the 12th round of Carson Jones and the way he was putting in punches together, if he had put those punches together like he did in the 12th round, from the second round onwards, could he not have stopped Jones? Stopped Rose? So I'm getting as bad as Jim Watt now. That's going in my head. I've got that in my head as well. Could he not have stopped Rose? On the flip side, Rose showed lots of heart, lots of guts, and you can almost tell when Rose was throwing them combination punches and digging in. It was like, yeah, you stopped me the last time, and you shouldn't have stopped me. I was going to win this fight, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to give it to you. And then in the exchanges when they were bouncing into one another, I was thinking to myself, why are you just having afters after the bell, but not doing anything in the fight? So yeah, questions need to be asked about that for sure. I'm going to have a word with Abel, and yep, we'll have a word. I'll have a word with Abel. Let's see what people are saying. Chris Golden says, Flanagan is the #1 lightweight in the country at the moment, surely. Well, he does hold a world title. Well, I don't know how many people actually thought that Flanagan was going to win that world title, to be honest. Before the fight, I think a lot of people believed that Zapata was going to knock Flanagan out. And, well, he had a bit of an injury, and Flanagan is world champion. Whether he could beat Zapata in a rematch, I don't know. I didn't see much of him. But, yeah, Flanagan's world champion, but I don't know. The way Flanagan won the world title is unsatisfactory, really, to be honest. So I think you're going to have to mind me, guys. So I think at the end of the day, in terms of Flanagan, oh, look at this. Sorry, guys. In terms of Flanagan, I don't know. I can't say much about the Flanagan. He got in the ring. He did what he had to do. You can't blame the injury on Flanagan, but I want to see him beat somebody of real note. I'd like to see him beat Zapata. Then I could probably really embrace that world championship that he's got. What did you make of Joseph Parker's KO earlier? Parker versus AJ is the next super fight in the heavyweight division. Well, look, I like Joseph Parker. Guy's got lots of personality. I think he slightly confused with his sponsorship deal. He talks about healthy eating and then promotes Burger King, and he's sponsored by Burger King. So, right, Joseph. But nice enough guy. Does carry some serious power there. Trained by Kevin Barry, who once trained David Tua, who never really did anything as their heavyweight bar knockout. Michael Mora and John Ruiz, both guys who became world champions, and he didn't. Anyway, yeah, David Tua, that guy. The guy who only had a left hook. Now, you see, my problem with Joseph Parker is this, and a lot of people are hyping him up. You know, Joseph Parker, from my reading, what I saw tonight, he had a very low left hand, very, very low left hand when he was fighting Bowie Tapu. And Bowie Tapu was, you know, got knocked out good, though. I mean, a lot of people said that Bowie Tapu dived. That was no dive. That was a proper shot at the top of the head for me. I like the way Joseph Parker's going, but to put him in with Joshua, don't know yet. Let's see what Joshua does against Dillian Whyte. Let's see how, you know, Joseph Parker does against somebody of some recent decent note. I don't know yet. I don't know about Joseph, but he seems to have great personality and seems a nice guy. Chris May says Jones was awful. Yes, it is Chris Mason, the darts player. 4C Sports Media says Abel has too many fighters, I think. Seriously, he has about 20 fighters on his stable. Yep. Yep. Stream has stopped. Has it? No, it hasn't. Has it? Let me check. No, it hasn't. My stream hasn't stopped. Okay. Stuart House says, refresh mark, all good at this end. Ruben has tagged you in the post. Abel seems to be in it for the money. Clearly didn't help Jones out tonight, did he? Now, I want to go back at this thing about Abel Sanchez and Jones. Now, what I've been led or I've been given inside information in is a lot of these fighters, they train by themselves, yeah? And they train by themselves, or they train with a local trainer, okay? And then about 2 weeks before the fight, they get in the star trainer, because the star trainer costs a little bit more to have. So they have the local trainer and pay him whatever it is, I don't know, $100 an hour, whatever. And then they get the star trainer, which is someone like Abel Sanchez or Freddie Roach. And you wouldn't know this because you just see Freddie Roach and the fighter in the ring. What you don't know is that trainer may have just popped up at the last moment, you know, 3 days before and said, hey, let's do some bag work or do some pad work. You fit? Okay, let's go. You know? So is it that sort of arrangement that Carson Jones had with Abel Sanchez, and he was just using the gym and using Abel's name? And was it that? Because it's great advertisement for Abel Sanchez. Carson Jones is a great advertisement just for Abel Sanchez is over there and he trains Gennady Golovkin. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'll have to ask Abel about that. 4C Sports Media says Parker won't fight AJ for at least a year. I interviewed him about this month. He likes Lucas Brown fight. Yeah, Lucas Brown's a good fight for Parker. But Lucas Brown looks in tremendous shape at the moment. As you can see in photographs, and he looks really good. Really, really, really good. So where are we now? So that's AJ out the AJ Parker out the way. Let's move on. We're going to now talk about back to Brian Rose and Carson Jones. So I'm a bit concerned that Carson Jones did his best work in the last round. So that was a bit strange. Brian Rose fought well, fought with lots of heart, and won by unanimous points decision. Great, but where does that put Brian Rose? He's beaten Carson Jones. Okay. But where does that put him in the world ratings? Does he make him any better, a world-class fighter? No, I don't think he's a world-class fighter. Then he's going to fight in the middleweight division. Who's he going to beat in the middleweight division? I mean, he can't punch at light middle. He's not going to knock anybody out of middleweight. Not being funny, but Brian Rose fighting at middleweight is like a dead end, to be honest. But good luck to him. Good luck to him. Good luck to him. As for Carson Jones, I don't want to see Carson Jones in England again. I really don't want to see Carson Jones' face in England. You know, he's one of these guys now that I'm fed up of watching him fight. You think he's going to do something. You think he's going to do something, but it just doesn't come, does it? It's like Carson Jones is in sparring mode mentality. He's good for sparring mode, you know. Oh, I might do my little advertisement here for Kelly. It's an island. It's a multi fruit juice. Yeah, it's with multivitamins. It's pretty raw stuff. Rose domestic at best. There's that word domestic again. We love that word domestic, don't we? Yeah. I like the way when was it Johnny Nelson turned to Anthony Grollo says, "Yeah, you're the best domestic bunch, aren't you?" And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, Crawley, you are the best of the domestic bunch. You're the best of the domestic bunch. Like I said before, it's very condescending, very look down your nose. Yeah, you're the best of the domestic bunch. You're not worth anything more than that. You're not worth to be spoken about at any international level. Just you're the best of the domestic bunch. I was like, yeah. Stuart Howe says, Brian Rose done well. I was very shocked, but Carson Jones don't always turn up. And fair play to Rose making up with Ian John Lewis. Yeah, the judge. Chris Basin, no power, dodgy whiskers, but God loves a trier. Well, you know, now I worked it out what was going on with Ian John Lewis. What he does sometimes is, I've just worked out, he does that sort of thing. He does the scoring and he refs at the same time. I think sometimes he stands in a corner of a fight and he actually is scoring a fight. And then something happens in the fight and he's watching, he's going, I'm only going to give that 10-8 round. I'm not sure. Well, he looks like getting knocked down here. And he scores the fight and then he jumps in and realizes he's a referee. That's what I think happens. Chris says, I accidentally used the domestic word after Mundine could be after Rose now. Team Mundine offered Jones the fight, but had the rematch with Rose. Mundine struggling for fight. Matchroom money could make fight happen, but okay. Who the hell wants to watch Rose versus Mundine? Right? Why? Why? I understand what you're saying, but why would you? I'm not interested in it, but I'm sure the people of Blackpool might like that fight. It's a good fight to have in Blackpool, I guess, but I don't know. I can't say any more than that, but I just don't want to. I don't want to see Carson Jones back in. I'm fed up of seeing his face in England not performing, so I don't want to see Carson Jones again. You know. I think you're gonna have to nickname Carson. I'll give Carson Jones a new name, Carson Payday Jones. That's it. And the fact he's got the name Jones at the end of it, it's just don't like it. It's very upsetting. Jones. He just comes over for the payday, doesn't he? Bring old Carson Jones over, yeah. you get a payday out of him. It's like just get Carson Jones over. You know, he did well against Kell Brook. Bring him over. Yeah, bash him up and bring him over. Yes, all right. Carson Jones likes the old pound he does. Bring him over. That's what I bet they're talking about him, Carson Jones. Giving John Lewis his due, he let Ross the Boss and Jason Cunningham smash it out for 12 rounds, but never has since. Marky B says a lot of people bet on Jones beating Rose. Yeah, I was one of those people who thought that as soon as he connected, he'd destroy Rose, but I don't know. Yeah, but I did notice something. I think if you go back and look at the tape again, a lot of the times when Jones was throwing his punches, he was like, he kept doing this. But like he was pulling back on his punch, he was like pulling back all the time. And I was thinking, oh, this guy's not following through his shots. Like he's taking some power off his shot. So he looked at times like he was in sparring mode. Throw the odd good, decent body shots, make it look like if you're doing something, but don't actually threaten to actually go for the kill. Or that's what it seemed like. Don't know. Odd. It kind of reminded me of when, do you remember when Jonathan Banks fought Seth Mitchell in the second fight, and he tagged Mitchell and he hurt Mitchell, and then he just sat back and let Mitchell get back into the fight and win the fight. Never understood it. Chris Mason says Jones is tiny at that weight, operates best at 147, and didn't Rose come in over? Yeah, he did. Marky B says Abel did nothing from tonight. Nope, don't think he did. Not at all. Abel should stick with GGG. It's giving him a bad name to see his fighters losing. Maybe Hearn paid Jones off. Well, maybe. Who knows? So let's move on. And the next up was Luke Campbell against Tommy Coyle. Look, you heard me say it here. I expected Luke Campbell to blow away Tommy Coyle. I really did. And you could say the fight was boxer versus brawler, but Tommy Coyle wasn't even good at brawling. He was like stumbling over his feet as he's coming over trying to throw punches. Tommy Coyle relied on lots of heart, lots of guts, lots of willing himself on, and positive mental attitude just willed him on. You could see he was like tripping over his feet. It was like a drunk coming. He was fighting like a drunk coming forward every time, coming forward and like chucking punches. It was like a guy being dragged off the streets, brought in, repaired gloves with a bit of stamina, and said, "Go in, throw as many shots, try and catch Luke Campbell as you go in." Like, and he did have some success. Coyle, the body shot, boom, he hit, and he did hurt Campbell in one of the rounds, but he didn't follow up on that. He hurt Campbell. I mean, you could see Campbell, he got hit with a body shot and he started backing up, and Coyle just kind of looked at him and didn't follow up. Didn't understood it. But Campbell put combination together nice, correctly at the southpaw stance. There were little moments. He reminded me of Oscar De La Hoya, the way he stepped back on with his feet, he placed his feet, step back and let punches go. I would like to see Campbell. I'd like to see Campbell really put his punches together more, like De La Hoya would. 4 or 5 punch combination. Boop, 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 boop. I'd really like to see him do that. I mean, he's putting together 2 and 3s, and he's a southpaw. I'd like to see him for 4 and 5 punch combinations. So Campbell held Stuart Howe. Campbell held off a few times as well. To be honest, was winning and enough for the points. There is a lot more coming from him. Yeah, I think first of all, let's get a few things straight here. Tommy Coyle, I wouldn't consider him a brawler. I would consider him a very passionate guy. A brawler, no. Passionate, yes. Lots of heart, lots of guts. But brawler doesn't know how to brawl. At least if you knew how to brawl, move your head, gives lateral movement, but he didn't know how to brawl. He just came forward in straight lines. So I wouldn't call him a brawler. I'd call him a passionate guy. It gives discredit to brawlers out there because he was, like I said, coming forward like a drunk, tripping over his own feet. Have you seen a boxer trip over his own feet going forward? Campbell let him off. They're friends. Oh, yeah, they are friends. But Tommy Coyle said, I think he said along afterwards, yeah, I'll I still remember him calling me shit or something like that after the fight. But anyway, um, let's clear a few things up here. Campbell is a very talented fighter. Very talented fighter. He's got the skills and the potential to be a world-class fighter. But no, he's not world-class. Tommy Coyle isn't world-class. Therefore, Luke Campbell beating Tommy Coyle doesn't make Luke Campbell world-class. Sorry. So let's get that out. If you're saying Luke Campbell has world-class potential, then I'll agree with you. Luke Campbell has world-class potential. Luke Campbell looks a good fighter. I think he looks very good. But I want to see him in there against somebody who really has some real dynamite in their hands and some real physical presence about them and can land some shots. But I think Luke Campbell is very good. Very good. I like him. The thing I liked about this fight was he took his time. He put his punches together. Nice body shots in. Campbell versus Linares, don't even go there. Do not even go. Oh my God. No, 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 absolutely not. Luke Campbell can fight guys like, I think they're both lightweights, aren't they? Burns, and he's got guys like Burns, Crawler, lightweight. I'm sure he's lightweight. Who else you got in lightweight? You've quite a few lightweights. Mitchell, but no, he's not ready for Linares. Campbell needs to go down the route. I am shocked someone as experienced as Ed Robinson could ask such fundamentally stupid questions like, do you think he's ready for a world title fight? I'm like, hold on. This guy has what, 11, 12 fights? Do you think he's ready for a world title fight? That was his first meaningful fight, Luke Campbell. Let's be brutally honest. And that was against Derry Matthews. That would be a good fight. Because you know Derry Matthews carries some dig. I think Luke Campbell's got better boxing ability than Derry Matthews, getting as bad as Jim Watt. Derry Matthews, but I don't know. I think he's top quality, world class. I'm not sure. I'd like to see him go British, Commonwealth, European, world. That's how it is. So Linares, no. British, Commonwealth, European, world. What, when you talk about pushing a guy straight into a world championship, what's the point of putting a guy into a world title fight, him scraping by and winning a world title, and then for the rest of his career, you have to duck and dive? Good example, Deontay Wilder. Yeah, it's like, is he ready for a world title fight? Well, he's ready to fight that guy, but is he ready to be a world champion? So he's world champion. So his first defense is against who? His second defense is going to be against who? And then you've got the situation where he's trying to avoid the Povetkin fight. Belt holders. The way the Sky team are talking is that you're going to create a lot of belt holders and a lot of fighters getting destroyed pretty quickly because they're not talking with any sense. No sense whatsoever. How can somebody be world class and they haven't even fought the best domestic level? I don't get it. Stuart Howe, he isn't ready yet. Go English, then British, build him up. It would be very good then. Yes, build him up. Scotty Cardell, yeah, I'll stick him with Scotty Cardell. I don't like Scotty Cardell. I'm overrated. I'd stick him with Cardell. Steve Howe says, you leave my mate Wilder alone. All right, I'll leave him alone. But it's belt holder. You know, Kovalev champion. Kovalev champion, fighting whoever's out there. No ducking, no one. Just get on with it. Get on with it. Fight whoever needs to be fought. That's a champion. And there's belt holders. Belt holders pick and choose who they want to fight next. Champions fight all comers. There's a difference. And there's too often this this talk on Sky about people fighting for world titles and world title eliminators, and they're not even the best in the country. How can you be fighting for world title? You're not even the best in your own country. I mean, that's the thing that burns me up about Brook and Khan. You know, Brook should fight Brook fighting Khan, Khan fighting Brook. That needs to be cleared up. That was the same problem with the British middleweight division. You had Andy Lee, Matthew Macklin, Martin Murray, and Darren Barker, but no one fought no one. You've got this same nonsense happening at super bantamweights, where you've got Frampton and Quigg and a few others. Just mate, just banter, mate, with Wilder, mate. Oops, Ingram, you said the domestic word. Yeah, I did. Domestic. Totally agree. I want it like the old days, the early days where they fought best and fought the best. Well, Kovalev is like that. Now, let's finish by talking about the shocking commentary team of Nick Pauling and Jim. What the hell are you going on about? Like, Jim Watt was saying Brian Jones. Like, what? And Jim Watt tonight. This is reckless boxing. Jim Watt tonight was if you wanted the perfect example of what a fanboy is, or how a fanboy responds when their fighters getting beaten up, listen to Jim Watt's commentary as Luke Campbell closes in on Tommy Coyle, and Tommy Coyle is getting dropped and almost verging being knocked out. Listen to Jim Watt. Absolute silence. Nick Pauling's going on and on and on and on, and Jim Watt is said nothing whatsoever. Absolutely. I've never heard Jim Watt go so quiet. Then Jim Watt says, another classic Jim Watt statement. He goes, I've never seen a fighter with so much dedication and determination as Tommy Coyle. Jim, in a long while, where have you been in the last 5 years, Jim? With determination and guts. I'm sure there's been 1,000 fights you've commentated on, Jim, and fighters that are much better than Tommy Coyle. I'll give you an example. 3 fights between, what's this guy's name? Ward and Gatti. Those are 2 guys that gave their all. Are you going to try and tip me now that Tommy Cole's got more guts than Arturo Gatti on Mickey Ward? Come on, man. Or Morales and Barrera together fighting it out, you know. Or Diego Corrales, who got dropped by what's his name? I forgot the guy's name again. I can see him on my mind, you know. But anyway, the way he got dropped, he got back up and he stopped the guy in the same round. But yeah, that I mean, I can't believe Jim Watt said that. And then after that, he was in the fight. He was saying, I'd love to give Tommy Coyle a reward. A reward for what? You're getting beaten from left to right, from pillar to post. You want to give him a reward? What is this business about giving him a reward? What? Oh, and then Cal Brook. Bless him, Cal. Bless him. I mean, somebody must have slipped him a couple of £100. Must have, look, Cal, take this and mention Rocky Balboa in the same breath as Tommy Coyle. How can you reference Tommy Coyle with Rocky Balboa? I'm like, Castillo, that's it. How can you bring Rocky Balboa and Tommy Coyle and put them in the same universe? I don't get it. I cannot get it. Oh my good Lord. Okay, let's go back up here. Chris Mason says, Eddie always negotiates with the weakest belt holders in the division. Marky B says, I heard that, Ingram. He also said, bang on the chin. Yeah, bang on the chin, bang on the money. Can't knock what He's been through a lot, but Halling's a bum. Oh, God. Stuart Howe, my sister's boyfriend, ran the bar tonight. I asked him to turn the sound down. Jim, what? This is reckless. This is reckless from Stuart Howe. He goes, hey, Marky B says, I think Campbell Coyle was pissed after the main event. He couldn't speak straight. Oh, dear me. Oh, so funny. Oh, oh. It was, I tell you what was very funny what happened. I sent a tweet out. If anyone was on Twitter and you saw my tweet, I sent a tweet and I said in the tweet, I wonder where all the Tommy Coyle fans are that said that he was going to knock Luke Campbell out. And as I tweeted that, you could see, right, the two guys are boxing. There was somebody kicking off in the back there. There was a few people kicking off. It's well funny. Good evening, Iceman. Guys on the Boxing Coalition shit on Halling every week. What was it? Oh, collapse in tears. Where do people get these sayings from? How do you collapse in tears? I don't get it. He collapsed in tears. They collapsed in tears. I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense. Brooke wasn't as fat as he was. I heard Brooke may be fighting Diego Chavez. Don't know how true it is. Diego Chavez is the name that's been called, touted about. Diego Chavez, Kell Brook, up in September. That's what I'm hearing. So, could be interesting. Yes, Ian Dark, Glenn McCrory were a great team. Ian Dark, please come back. I think we've got to do a petition. Sack Nick Pauling. He's absolutely shocking. He's terrible. Absolutely terrible. In fact, you know what? I have to try and get an interview with that man. Or, Forsey, are you in the room, my friend? Listen, mate, can you try and get Nick Pauling and get an interview with him? Because somebody needs to set that man straight and explain to him that it's a boxing ring. People are allowed to hit one another. There are testing fights, and you know there are going to be moments where you as a fanboy, the guy that you are backing is going to fight better opponents, and eventually they're going to get hit back. Can you explain that to him? That'd be great. Chavez is a good fight. Yeah, it's a good fight. Chris Golden says, yeah, that's right. Kel looked better. I thought he'd eaten Frankie Cat. I don't know who I was talking to the other night, but they said that they go out often with Kell Brook, and Kell Brook's always in town and on the drink and stuff. Interesting. Oh, Adam Smith's just as bad fanboy. Is he? Well, I don't know. I don't like Adam Smith anyway. I'm not a fan of him. But I'm a bit confused as to why Carl Froch wasn't on the team. I'm a bit confused as to why Paul Smith wasn't on the team. And I'm a bit confused as to why Anthony Crolla, who was speaking like this, because he was shouting about getting a rematch. He was shouting to the top of his voice. I think Eddie Hearn said, if you shout as loud as you can for a rematch, I'll get you a rematch. So Anthony Crolla did all the screaming for the last week on trying to get a rematch against Darley, because Hearn must have thought, you know what, that's the best guy I can get you in a fight with. So that's why that's why you probably heard Anthony Crolla's voice like this. You could add Paul Smith, you could have had you could even have Alex Arthur doing the commentary instead of Crolla if his voice was that bad. Don't get it. And Crolla's from Manchester. Hull, I don't get it. No. Anyway, at least what was a decent fighter. Hall's just a joke and needs to go. Off topic, but I heard stories that Eubank has signed a promotion deal with Hearn and an advisory deal with Heyman. Yes, that is true. Also, Selby's next fight is on PBC. Any news, truth in this? Yes, I believe it's true about the Eubank thing about Hearn. Um, I know it's true. I believe it's true. And Heyman thinks very true. Yeah. Lee Selby. Look, this is another guy. A lot of people rating Lee Selby. Lee Selby is a good fighter. But let me explain something to you. Lee Selby will be always very good against guys that walk in straight lines with not much punch power. I'm telling you now, Lee Selby is a knockout waiting to happen. And I hate to say this, and I like Lee Selby, right? Watch Lee Selby in his fights. When he pulls out, leaves his chin in the air, moves back in straight lines. Watch him. When he pulls out from punches, leaves his chin in the air, leaves it out to dry like a giraffe, and pulls back. Against top quality operators. Not guys who move in straight lines like that because they don't see it. Because top quality operators, he's going to get nailed. He's going to get nailed. And Granovich was landing on him as well. Granovich isn't really a puncher. So Lee Selby, good fighter. I have my concerns. Let me see if anybody's saying anything on Twitter. Right. Lee Marvel has a message for Chris Mason. Let's see. Lee Marvel says to Chris Mason that Chris, you'd beat David Price, but then Lee Marvel continues and says David Price would probably beat you in a game of darts. So he laughed at that. It's quite funny. On the topic of David Price, while I don't want to spend too much time on it, I will say this, that he needs a proper trainer and he needs to sit down and listen. If he's going to continue boxing, he needs to sit down and listen. I've got a message from a top trainer that is interested in training David Price. I'll upload that message with the audio from David Price. Chris Mason, unfortunately, when you work for Sky, you have to toe the party line. Almost all who work for them are under strict instructions. Hence the reason most of what's said is absolute bollocks. It is absolutely. Wait, hold on, Chris. If you worked for Sky before, or is it like that at ITV or BBC? Can you give me some insight on that? Who is Eubank fighting next? I don't know. But I'll tell you something now. I don't see Eubank going very far in his career. Honestly, I don't. I really don't. Unless he changes his attitude towards training, I don't see him going very far in his boxing career. I really don't. I don't. But we'll see. I really don't. Yeah, I'm going to talk very quickly about Katie Taylor. Obviously, I'm in Ireland now, so I've got to be a little careful what I say. It's great that Katie Taylor is, she's the #1 girl in the world. So you give her credit for that. Oh, yes, hence why I don't work for Sky now, LOL. Oh, yeah, we're going to have to talk about that one, Chris. Katie Taylor fighting on the undercard of Lee versus Saunders. Now, I don't have a problem with this, but it's only my opinion. I don't have a problem with this if Katie Taylor is going to become a pro. But I see there's no point whatsoever if she's training to get to the Rio Olympics. Why the hell is Katie Taylor fighting on the undercard of Billy Joe Saunders? It's like an amateur fighting on a professional card. Why? I don't understand. And whoever they put in the ring with Katie Taylor is going to be somebody who's going to make her look good. So it's a foregone conclusion that Katie Taylor's going to win the fight. They're not exactly going to bring somebody over to Ireland to smash it to bits, are they? No. So it's a pointless exercise. I mean, I don't get it. Yeah, it's Katie Taylor in the ring and she's an amateur and I don't understand it. If that's the case, then why don't you get a whole Irish amateur team boxing for one night? I don't agree with it. I don't think it's good. It's not because she's a woman, because I support women's boxing, but I don't like stuff like that. What's his attitude of training? You can't just drop that bombshell, LOL. No, it's no bombshell with Eubank Jr. Let's be honest. If you can turn around to your trainer in the middle of a fight, if you can turn to your trainer in the middle of a top fight where you could win the British Commonwealth and European Championships, and the fight is slipping away from you, you could turn to your trainer and tell your trainer to shut up. That tells you how much respect you have for your trainer, which is literally none. Eubank, I'm sorry. I don't see how I don't think you can improve in that sort of situation. Kate should be in the spotlight. Who cares for what she's done? She's just looking for fame. There you go. See, another person said it. Stuart House is publicity, mate. That's why she'll be at Rio. Yeah, well, I don't agree with it. I really don't. I don't think it's good at all. I think it's terrible. It's terrible. Sadly, Cedric's in the room. Good evening, Cedric. Sadly, I think you're right on Eubank. He's so arrogant. If his dad didn't give him name value, would people think the same about him? Stuart House shouldn't be in the spotlight. She's amazing. Yes, she's an amazing amateur. She's not a pro. She doesn't deserve to be in the same spotlight as a pro fighter in a world title fight. No. There's so many guys in Ireland that can box, that are pro fighters, that are doing the slugging away. Why should she get the glory? Why should she's an amateur fighter? Stay training as an amateur or make a decision, become a pro, and don't go to Rio. No. Why should Katie Taylor get privilege to everyone else? She's the #1 fighter in the world. Well, she is. Turn pro and prove it. Do what Ava Knight's done. Turn pro. Do what Cecilia Breaker's done. Turn pro. No, you want to stay as an amateur because you make more money as an amateur. That's what it's at. That's where it's at. But oh, nobody's going to say that. Marky B says she has no right to be even on the boxing card. No, she hasn't. No right whatsoever. End of. No right whatsoever. Absolutely no right. Right? I would rather see Freddie Flynn to fight another fight than Katie Taylor as an amateur boxing. I saw this crap before. That's when Anna Khan fought Kinderlin for the second time. And you damn well know they paid Kinderlin off. They paid Kinderlin off to make Khan look good, to win that fight. Oh, I didn't do too well for my silver belt, silver medal. So, I'll fight you as an amateur again. Fight that fight again as an amateur. And Kinderlin will bring you over, pay you off, and let Khan look good for the pros. Publicity stunt. You haven't heard nothing about Kinderlin since. You've heard nothing on Kinderlin since. So don't give me no Katie Taylor rubbish. It's taking people for a ride, and they're hard-earned, good Irish fighters that are fighting that are not going to get the publicity that Katie Taylor gets. And Katie Taylor basically is doing what she do in the amateur game. Great, what she does in the amateurs. Let her stay in the amateurs. Or she's going to turn pro on the night. That's different. If Katie Taylor decided to turn pro on that night, then she should be on the bill. I agree. If she's not going to turn pro and she's going to pick herself and go to Rio, no. Tell you what, well, in that case, then, why don't I bring Cecilia Breakers and put Cecilia Breakers back in the amateur game? Why don't you do that? Get all the pro fighters and get them fighting the amateur cards. Let all the pro fighters go to the Olympics. So many people will kick up a stink about that. Oh, I see. Soon change, isn't it? Best female boxer of all time, and at the moment, in my opinion, is good for women's sport to get a bigger name. I honestly say, fair play to getting the women's game a name. And yes, a top amateur gets paid a lot. Yes, yeah, but that's got nothing. That's got nothing whatsoever to do with the fact that she should be on a professional card, and she's still an amateur and has no intention of turning pro because she's fighting at the Olympics in Rio. Foregone conclusion, really. Cedric says Billy Joe Saunders even think women should be pro boxers. She's quality, Marky mate. Yeah, I give pros and amateurs should stay separate. But if she's offered it, fair play for taking the offer. Frank Warren isn't even interested in her. There you go. Right. Marky B says best female boxers of all time. Hello, I'll stop it. Full City Sports Me says, I'm off, mate. Thanks for the show. No problems. Yep. I think we'll come to the end because we've got the PBC show coming up. Let's talk about PBC very quickly. Malignaggi versus Garcia. Haven't been convincing Garcia the last few fights. I still think Lucas Matisse has taken something out of Garcia. He's moving up to 147 against a light punching Paulie Malignaggi. As Garcia got the start to just walk forward and throw left hooks, could do, but I think Paulie's jab could give him problems. This is another opportunity. Garcia had the opportunity to look good against Peterson, he failed. He had the opportunity to look good against Herrera, he failed. And you know what? He's going to have the opportunity at 147 to perform and look good against Malignaggi. If he doesn't, it's not going to look good. So Malignaggi's got a nice job now. So hey, depends what he wants. He says if he beats Garcia, he'll be a Hall of Fame fighter. So it could be Paulie's last fight, but who knows? Who cares? I mean, even if he does beat Paulie, so what? He didn't beat Peterson, and that was a meaningful fight. So for me, who knows? Okay, guys, I'm going to end the show so you guys can go watch PBC Boxing. Don't forget to check out the shows, the interviews, and oh my God, I had some massive tip-offs. That you're going to have to wait and see. Just stay tuned and watch the next couple of interviews coming up. Yeah, since he's fought against Khan and Matisse, he's been poor. Okay, guys, I'm off. Get ready for the PBC card. Should be fun. I'm looking forward to Tava Cunningham. I think it's going to be a damn good fight. Okay, this has been Ingram Jones. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, share the link, let everyone know about the show. And lots of love. See you soon. Take care.